Welcome to Forest Chat, where we talk about individual endeavour in Western Australia, what it takes, what it means, and how you do it. I'm your host, Paul Vandermeer, and in today's episode, we're talking with Dan Baldwin about being a parkrun statesman. Dan started parkrun in June 2013 and has since become a parkrun statesman. Welcome to Forest Chat, Dan.
Oh, thanks, Paul, for the opportunity to talk on your pod.
Pleasure to have you here, Dan. Dan, what is a parkrun statesperson?
Okay, so parkrun, as people may be aware, is a free 5-kilometre timed run that's held every Saturday morning. A statesperson is someone that has completed all of the events in a state or territory. So for instance, in South Australia, if you're to complete all of the 52 parkruns there, you'd be called a crow eater. If you're in Western Australia, if you complete all 56 runs, you're called a sand groper. So essentially a statesperson is someone that's completed all the different parkrun events in that state or territory.
And how many parkruns are there in Western Australia?
I think there's 56 in Western Australia. And say, for instance, in South Australia, there's 52. And if you're lucky to be in the Northern Territory, there's only 6 to complete.
With one a week, that makes Northern Territory much easier to achieve, doesn't it?
Definitely, but you still need to go for a bit of a serious drive. So the distance between, say, Alice Springs and Darwin is 1,500 kilometres. So if you want to drive from Darwin to Alice Springs, there's at least a 3-day drive.
That's quite a bit of effort. How do you know when you're a statesperson? Is there some sort of system for that?
Yeah, so the thing about parkrun is there's this app called the Parkrun 5K app, and that actually tracks all your running achievements with respect to parkrun. So as you complete different events around your state, Australia, or even the world, you can actually see a little green tick, and that green tick will denote that you've completed a run at that location. There's also another app called Running Achievements, and that'll actually tell you what states, how many runs you've completed in each state within a specific country. So that you can track those on different apps. And
is it a fixed target or a moving target?
Oh, it's definitely a moving target. So I've been fortunate to have been a statesman in Western Australia before, and Sandy and I, we moved across to South Australia for a period of time and only recently come back here for some work purposes. And in doing so, we were statesmen when we left Western Australia, and 12 months later when we returned, we still had quite a number to complete in order to achieve that milestone again. So it's a moving target, and the thing is as the parkrun community grows, some events get quite busy, and then extra events pop up around those events in order to spread the load, but also create opportunities for new entrants to parkrun. So there's always new parkruns popping up around the state.
We've seen that around here with Ridley Place Foreshore Parkrun, and not too far away we've got Black Swan Parkrun that's popped up in the last about 8 weeks or so. I think they've done 8, and next week will be 9, I think.
Yeah, so the good thing about being a parkrun statesperson, which is essentially a parkrun tourist, is you get to travel to all these really unique locations, and some places you've been to before, but suddenly you've arrived in this parkrun location with a different set of eyes, right? So instead of just going, oh, this is a nice spot, you go, this is a nice spot for a run, and gee, you've got some great people here as well.
Parkrun is full of great people. That's one of the best things about it.
Oh, definitely. The sense of community in parkrun is amazing. And the thing is you go, say, for instance, within Perth, there's so many people that I've met through parkrun and consider friends. But then at the same time, as I travel interstate, my brothers live in Victoria and New South Wales, and because they parkrun, they meet all these other people, which then when I go to run with my brothers, they go, oh, you're Tim's brother or you're Kingsley's brother. And in doing so, you create new friends all around the country. And then more recently, Sandy and I have travelled abroad to do parkrun in Europe. And we've gone to some locations and we've met fellow Australians, and it was like, I've ran with you in Kangaroo Island, or, oh, you know my brother, or... So what happens is you find that the world is very small when you do parkrun, because you've got that sense of community, but also you'll know people who you know, or you actually know people directly, and you can travel all around the world and see people that you know. So fortunately, we were in Denmark earlier in the year, and Sam Farman, who runs at Claysbrook Cove, she was there. It's like, Sam, what are you doing here? So the thing is that sometimes, if you're feeling lonely and abroad, just turn up, go to a parkrun, and you may meet people that you know of. But irrespective, if you go and have a coffee or share a run with someone, you may create lifelong friends.
That's a fantastic benefit of being a part of parkrun. So Dan, what does it take you to be a parkrun statesman?
Yeah, with respect to being a parkrun statesman, especially within WA, it actually takes quite a lot of commitment, because in order to complete the 56 events, you need to travel a long way. So, say for instance, if you want to drive from Perth to Kununurra, so Kununurra is the furthest away event from Perth. To do so, you need to travel via car for 3,300 kilometres, which is it's 3.5 days drive. Some people it may take longer, but at the same time, or a 3-hour flight. So the thing is you need to have that commitment to travel, but you need that spirit of adventure to explore, but also to go to places that you wouldn't normally consider as a tourist destination. But at the same time, what it does is it creates an opportunity for you to meet members of the local community, but at the same time, they will tell you about the locations within that region that you should go and visit. And sometimes you find these little hidden gems in places that you wouldn't necessarily consider being on the tourist circuit. So we love doing that. We love travelling, we love exploring, and we love parkrun. So yeah, it's a win-win in all situations.
Brings everything together, doesn't it?
Oh, definitely. I'll give you an example. Berwick in east of Melbourne is a suburb as a kid that we used to drive through. And when my brother said, let's go to Berwick and run Wilson Botanic Park Run, I was just like, really? You want to go to Berwick? And he's like, yeah, we do. And I'm like, okay. So I turn up to Berwick, and suddenly we're in this beautiful botanic garden with an amphitheatre, Japanese maples, a beautiful boardwalk, a run up a gravel path to the top of the hill, and suddenly there's a stunning vista of the Melbourne CBD. And you go, am I in Berwick? So what it did is it provides you with a completely different outlook on locations that you wouldn't consider to be a beautiful spot. But no matter what, you can find beauty in every location. But for me, what it did is it completely changed my view of this suburb that we used to pass through as young kids, in the car. And ironically enough, with that one location, Sandy and I, we were travelling up to Cape York, and we met a couple from Berwick. And I said, oh, I've been to Berwick. And they looked at me like, yeah, you're from Western Australia. And I said, we used to travel through Berwick as kids, and we never used to stop there. But we went and did this park run in the Wilson Botanic Gardens. And I said, I absolutely loved it. And I explained, my view of the park and what I got out of it. And both Kim and Darren looked at me with this beautiful smile, and they said, we got married in that park. And if it wasn't for parkrun, we would not have had that connection with those guys. And it's just turned out to be quite a beautiful story. So all from parkrun.
Incredible that you meet people all over the world, but the world is a smaller place than people think.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Say, for instance, I happened to be on Kangaroo Island around the marathon time last year, and I met a fellow parkrun tourist, and this fella loves travelling, him and his wife. And I happened to be in Canada earlier this year, and I was at a parkrun on Canada Day, which is a special event. So it's a parkrun that's held outside of the normal Saturday. And I walked straight up there and I said, "G'day." And he goes, "What are you doing here?" It's just like, parkrun? So here I am on the other side in the northern hemisphere, other side of the world, and meeting people that I physically can go up and say, "I know who you are," and they know who I am. And it's all because of parkrun. So yeah, the parkrun world is very small. So yeah, it's amazing.
And how much travelling do you actually do for all of this?
Oh, a lot. The thing is that we just love jumping in the car and going for a drive, right? So, and be it in South Australia or Victoria or New South Wales or even Queensland, WA, we've done a lot of driving in. And say, for instance, I'll give you another example of just travelling. You know, the thing is we travel all these major highways, and now some of these major highways in small rural towns that you wouldn't typically stop in have parkruns. And a certain example, say Nil in Western Victoria. You know, we stayed in Nil, and the hotel we stayed at had a pinball museum, right? And they had pinballs dating back to the 70s, and I think even the 60s, and then some of the modern ones. So here we are, we're playing pinballs in a pinball museum in a motel we're staying at. And then the fellow had rocks for sale, and I'm a geologist, so automatically I'll go up to the rocks and start going and saying, "Oh, look at that." And because I've named the mineral, the fellows looked at me like, "How come you know anything about rocks?" And I'm like, "Oh, that's my job," right? So already we've created a connection of playing this fellow's pinball machines, but at the same time looking at his rocks. And then that after parkrun, we had breakfast with these. Nil's got an excellent community of older generation volunteers. So there's one lady there that actually has a book, right? And it's almost like a logbook of all the visitors that have turned up, right? So we arrived and she goes, "You have to sign our book." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." I said, "Give me a second." And I went back to the inside cover and flicked a few pages. I see those two names? There's my brothers, right? So my brothers had actually run that parkrun a few years before. But then after having breakfast with one of the local blokes there, he said, "You've got to go to the Nil Aviation Museum." And so we had a great time. They've got 4 planes in this museum and a lot of memorabilia with respect to the war. And so what it's done is, here's this tiny little community that you'd normally pass through, and suddenly the experiences we've had in a wheat belt town within Victoria are very unique, and we would not have done that without parkrun, and we would not have had these excellent conversations with people that we probably wouldn't have generally. And again, it's all because of the sense of community and being in a locality for parkrun. So to become a parkrun tourist or a statesman, it takes quite a bit of travel, but at the same time, the spirit of adventure, but the want and need to just go and explore. And Australia is an amazing place to explore and do free 5K runs every Saturday morning.
And there's over 500 actually in Australia. So, that's like 10 years worth of park running if you're right into it.
Yeah, and I've done a few events in my 12 years of parkrun, and there's still a lot of events in Australia that I would love to do. It just comes down to time and maybe a little bit of money.
Yeah, the travelling is a big part of that, and you've got to be available, I guess, for that, and willing to do it and able to achieve it. So,
yeah, definitely. And I'm quite lucky because my brothers, they love to parkrun, and they're in Victoria and New South Wales. So what it does is and also Sandy's sisters are in New Zealand, and when we travel to go and see family, we always make sure we do a parkrun. And by doing a parkrun with family members, it creates a shared experience. And I think having a shared experience with family members around a common interest, it means that you can talk about it for years And sometimes you get adverse weather as well, like where it gets really hot. So I did Nightcliff parkrun with my brother, and it was that hot that I had sweat running out of my hands. And he was like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I think I'm okay." But it was just super hot. And then other times we've just been rained on like crazy. So, but the thing is that it's those sort of times that create memories that will last forever.
Talking about that, we'll move on to the next question. We've heard what it takes, Dan, to be a parkrun statesman. Now we'll have a break, and after the break, we'll have a look at what it means. We've heard what it takes, Dan, to be a parkrun statesman. Now, let's have a look at what does it mean. Dan, what does it mean to you, your family, or the community that you're able to be a parkrun statesman?
It actually means a lot, Paul. The thing is with respect to family, we love to travel, so we create shared experience with family members, and in doing so, we meet a lot of really good people along the way. And so you've actually, by travelling with parkrun, so what it means to me is that I've created a lot more people that I know around the world, and quite a lot I consider friends. And at the same time, with respect to my brothers, we've had some excellent experiences, or with Sandy's sister Jo, we've just, we've travelled, jumped in the car and driven 1,000 kilometres just to go and do a free 5-kilometre run. But I think what it does is it's the sense of community, which is what I love, right? So you can talk to anyone within the state about parkrun in Western Australia, and therefore you've already got that shared experience of, like, you go to Kalgoorlie and there's a big hill in Kalgoorlie, but you wouldn't expect that, right? So you'll have a chat to someone and they're like, "I'm going to Kalgoorlie," and you're like, "Oh wow, there's a hill there." Like, you think it's flat, but it's not. And so you can actually talk about locations and different parkruns and connect with people that you don't even know. And at the end of it, we all walk away with a smile on our face. It's like, "Oh, that bloke knows about my town. Oh, and he said that he's done this in my town." And it's like, but no one goes to that town. So at the same time, what it does is it opens your eyes up to the state and the world, but also it creates opportunity to have discussion points with other people. But at the same time, I just think it's a beautiful thing, right? That you can sit and chat to people that you don't even know from a bar or so, and then just have a shared common interest. And at the end of it, and sometimes, like, we'll have a parkrun coffee, and you go, "Okay, I've had coffee," and then suddenly it's morning tea. And then after morning tea, suddenly lunch has come out. And then it's like after lunch, we've left coffee, right? So at times, sometimes I've had parkrun coffees that have gone for, say, 5 hours. And you can talk a lot about parkrun in 5 hours, but at the same time, we all walk away with a smile on our face, which is great.
And sometimes at towns like Nil, was it, that you talked about, you come away with so much more than that?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, you just do. So the thing about, say, with Nil is it had a wonderful aircraft museum that we wouldn't have been really aware of unless we had a chat to this old fella that was volunteering. And so we love parkrun and we love travel. But suddenly we've gone to an aircraft museum. It's like, this is really interesting. And then in doing so, we've started going to all these different aircraft museums around Australia looking for F-111s, right? So these classic jets out of the 70s and 80s and 90s, I think they decommissioned in the early 2000s. And so we've gone to Darwin and Evans Head and the Queensland Aircraft Museum on the Sunshine Coast just to see these magnificent jets, right? So what we do is we combine our parkrun experience with a little bit of tourism, but also our love of looking at old planes, which has been quite amazing.
So it definitely enhances your tourism opportunities.
Oh, definitely. Oh, yeah. So yeah, sometimes I'll go to a location and I'll walk up to people and go, "I met you 3 or 4 years ago at such and such," and they'll go, "Oh, wow, you did too." And then automatically we've got that shared experience of we're at that location together, and now we're here. And I think the thing about sometimes when you're running as a group, it's just really nice. But running with people that you know or sort of even know of, it's collectively it's quite a lot of fun.
Definitely expands your social circles.
Yeah, somewhat. Yeah, it has. So it has, definitely. So the thing is even, for me, I've worked in the mining industry, and it's quite a relatively small industry, but by doing parkrun, I've actually got to meet people outside of my discipline, because most of my friends at the time were all within my discipline, and in doing so, it's sort of it's broadened my horizons on what other people do with respect to work or things that they enjoy, and so I think parkruns. Well, actually, it's funny because early on with parkrun, like I wasn't a runner. And there was, in 2013, 2014, there was all these people they were all new to running, and they're like, I might do a half marathon. And I'm like, really? And they're like, oh, I've never done a half marathon. And like, come do it. And like, oh, okay. So suddenly what happened is early on, this parkrun community of people that I didn't even know, we're suddenly running through the bush for 48 kilometres in Dwellingup, or running my first marathon, but the thing is that it was all about quite a number of these parkrunners saying, I know you can do it. So we had all these enablers in there, and there was this huge sort of explosion of running events at the time, and all these people that I knew, and it was quite an exciting time, and that sort of led me on to running with my brothers for longer distance events, more than 5K. But in reality, it really started about a simple, free 5-kilometre run on a Saturday morning.
It's impressive, the coverage. And they say it's not about the run, it's about the coffee afterwards.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. As I said, like we've had coffees that have lasted for 5 hours. So, and typically it's more than one coffee, and then you add more coffee in, then you start talking quicker, and look out.
We've heard a lot about what it means to Dan that he's able to be a parkrun statesperson. We'll have a break now, and after the break, we'll have a look at how you do it. We've had a look at what it means that Dan is able to be a parkrun statesman. Now, let's have a look at how you do it. Dan, if someone wanted to become a statesperson, how would they go about it?
Well, first up, you need to register for parkrun. So you need to have your own unique athlete barcode, which is essentially like your runner identification number. Then you need to look at the spread, the geographical spread of events. And the best way to do it is to start going to your local parkrun and just going and enjoying it. And then every few weeks just branch out and go to a different one. And there's quite a number of different events within the Perth metro area. The thing is that in order to achieve a parkrun statesmanship within a state or territory, it does require quite a bit of travel. So what I would suggest is find some kindred spirits. So find those people that want to jump in the car and drive 800 k's to Carnarvon, or 500 k's to Albany, or whatever it is, or Kalgoorlie, and share that experience, and also share the cost, and just start traveling and start exploring. It's much easier on a plane, but that costs a bit more. So you need a little bit of time and you need a little bit of money, but in reality, you need the commitment and drive to achieve statesmanship. And
then you can keep a track of it somehow?
Yeah, there's a number of different apps that can track your running events. So the Parkrun 5K app, which is like a purple background with a little white man, that's an excellent app for tracking your progress against the events within your state or territory. And there's another app called Running Achievements, which is very similar, but it'll actually sort of break down the events state by state. So yeah, that's always a helpful guide to try and understand what you still need to do in order to achieve a statesmanship.
And then from there, it's about what you can handle from a travel perspective, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true, Paul. So with respect to me sitting here in Perth now, after completing all the events within Western Australia, my Nendi, which is my nearest event not done yet, is actually 2,010 kilometres away, which is Alice Springs. So, but that's 2,010 kilometres as the crow flies. And so it's from here, it's probably a 3-day drive.
So that takes a little bit of planning and effort to get there, obviously. So are you looking forward to that?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. So I'd say, so Sandy and I will probably be in the car at the end of this month, or actually next month, and we'll actually drive through the Great Central Road. So through, there's a lot of flat country out there, but when you're travelling through the centre of Australia, it's just got this like an untamed beauty and endless skies of a night time. The colours are extraordinary, and I think for me, that has been one of the sort of the greatest joys of being a parkrun tourist, is actually going to explore different parts of Australia and going to places that you wouldn't normally go to just for a free 5-kilometre run. So yeah, I think we're quite fortunate to be able to just jump in the car and go for a drive. So yeah, it's great.
So Dan, is there anything else that you need to become a parkrun statesperson?
Well, the thing about parkrun is you can run or walk. Parkrun is for everyone, and I think that's what I love about it, is the inclusiveness. So it doesn't matter how fast or how slow you go, you still complete a 5-kilometre distance. And really, like, the entry into parkrun is you just need a pair of sneakers and either a pair of tracksuit pants or shorts, a t-shirt or a running top, which is actually relatively cheap to purchase. So like there's no real barriers to entry for parkrun, and I think that's what I love about it. It is for everyone. So as long as you've got a pair of shoes that you can move 5 kilometres in, and you can turn up on a Saturday morning at either 8 o'clock, it does change around the country, and you've got a smile and your athlete ID, then you're off and racing or walking or whatever you want to do. And I think that's what I love about parkrun, is it's for everyone.
I like the concept of bringing the smile.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I think that having a smile means you're enjoying yourself. The thing is if you bring a smile to parkrun, it means that people want to talk to you, right? Because you're having fun. But at the same time, when you've got an excellent photographer around, such as Paul here, then you can capture lifelong memories that you can share with friends and family around something that you enjoy. And so that's why I love running with friends and family, is that sometimes you can get those sort of candid moments caught while you're all enjoying yourself that you can send home to mum and dad, and they're like, it puts a smile on their face, even though they can't actually do parkrun. So I think that's what it does, is it is parkrun, and having some great photos around parkrun, it touches just more than you and the participants. It spreads its wings. It's probably to another 5 to 10 times as many people as what there is at parkrun, and I think that's what I love as well. And all you really want is for someone to be inspired to get up and give it a go, and that's what I love. So yeah.
Thank you for the compliment on my photography. It really is, the photos are of you, but they're for the people around you. And I hope that everyone who has a photo taken at parkrun takes that photo and pops it into their stash of photos that help describe their life.
Oh, definitely. And I've got some cracker photos over the years of and quite a lot you've taken of jump shots around different locations, or just me just running with people, and you just see the sheer joy of just being out there on a Saturday morning and just going for a jog, and that's what I love, right? And then you'll send those photos. We've actually got a little parkrun chat group, which is involves people from the UK, sometimes South Africa, Norway, Australia, and we just every weekend we're pinging photos to each other, like, oh, have a look at this, oh, this is great, oh, we got rained on, oh, it's too hot, but the thing is but then sometimes we've got photos taken, say, by you, Paul, and we'll send them out, and people are like, wow, who took that? And I'm like, not me. But at the same time, what it does is it just captures the moment. So, and I think that's important.
Yeah, photography is a big part of what parkrun does as well. So there's a whole group of very well accomplished photographers out there, and they do a great job at most events.
Yep, and the thing is that, and it's not just Australia. My sister-in-law Jo, she was just talking to me the other day about the fellow that inspires other people in New Zealand to take very good photos of parkrun. I think he was a photo and video ambassador, and and she was having a chat to this fellow, and as you should have seen her, she was like the joy in her, like just saying, "Oh, I met this guy, and it was about this and this, and it was this," and I'm like, "Well, we're very lucky because we know Paul here, so it's great."
Thank you very much, Dan, for being on Forest.chat, and all Forest.chat listeners wish you all the best with your future endeavours.
Oh, thanks, Paul. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming on the show, Dan. You've been listening to Forest.chat, where we talk about individual endeavour in Western Australia, what it takes, what it means, and how you do it. I'm your host, Paul Vandermeer, and in today's episode, we talked with Dan Baldwin about being a parkrun statesman. Remember, there are 4 ways to get involved with Forest.chat. Share the domain Forest.chat with your friends and family and people you meet. When you sign up for the emails, you get notice of the episodes. Listen to the episodes at forest.chat/episodes. If you do something interesting and other people might find interesting as well, book an interview at forest.chat/interview. If you want to support a small business, book an advert at forest.chat/advert. I'm looking forward to joining you with our next guest. Until then, enjoy making it happen.